States don't have the right to exist, let alone to tax people or force them to fight in wars. So no, it makes no sense to say countries like Israel or the Ukraine have a right to defend themselves. Once the state acts, the non-aggression principle is already violated. Any coercive action undertaken by the state, be it taxation, conscription, or military aggression, is illegitimate. Therefore, no state war can ever be justified. All government wars are, by definition, acts of socialism. When the state wages war, it does so using stolen resources and forced labor. The entire operation is collectivistic, coercive, and destructive. Thus, we cannot examine state wars as if they were private conflicts. They are categorically different. The private man defends what is his. The state expropriates, mobilizes, and takes lives in your name. As Rothbard wrote in War, Peace, and the State, it is wrong and criminal to violate the property or person of another, even if one is a Robin Hood or starving, or doing it to save one's relatives, or is defending one against a third man's attack. We may understand and sympathize with the motives in many of these cases and extreme situations. We may later mitigate the guilt if the criminal comes to trial for punishment, but we cannot evade the judgment that this is still aggression and is still a criminal act and one which the victim has every right to repel. To say that a country has the right to wage wars, to say that the individual citizen does not have a right to his own body or his own property or his own life. It is to say that the state may sacrifice the innocent for geopolitical theater. Quote, if Jones finds that his property is being stolen by Smith, he has the right to repel him and to try to catch him, but he has no right to repel him by bombing a building and taking the lives of innocent people. If he does this, he is as much or more of a criminal aggressor than Smith is. If someone steals from you, you're within your rights to ask your neighbor to help you recover your property, but you are not within your rights to demand her money or conscript her son to fight your battles. Voluntarism or nothing. Some argue that yes, taxation and conscription are wrong, but since the state exists and holds a monopoly on defense, we should support it in just wars. No. Just because the state monopolizes defense doesn't mean we support it when it wages war. Instead, we should work to limit that monopoly, to pressure the state to confine its actions to its own territory, and reduce its aggression as much as possible. The libertarian goal isn't to win state wars, it's to prevent them, to minimize violence and to oppose the use of force funded by theft. The proper role of people under any government is to pressure their own state not to attack others, and if war is already broken out, the libertarian position is not to take sides, but to work towards an immediate ceasefire and reduce harm to civilians as much as possible. That means respecting neutrality, non-combatant immunity, and the old rules of war that tried, however imperfectly, to spare innocent lives. These rules are now forgotten, replaced by total war and mass unaliving, from Dresden to Hiroshima to today's endless drone wars. Even in rare cases where the state is defending the property of one of its citizens abroad, war is still unjustified. The state has no moral right to tax its people or take innocent lives in another country just because a traveler or investor ran into trouble. If you take risks abroad, you deal with the consequences. You don't conscript your entire country into battle. And finally, no foreign aid, at least not the kind funded by taxation. Public money should never be used to prop up foreign states or fund wars, even against dictators. If individuals want to send voluntary help or support a cause privately, they're free to do so. But the state must not take money by force and call it help. In short, libertarians reject all state war not out of pacifism, but because every state war is rooted in aggression against the innocent, both at home and abroad. Opposing war doesn't mean accepting tyranny forever. Change can still happen without state violence. If a people were oppressed, there are two legitimate libertarian responses. One, a revolutionary uprising by the oppressed themselves, or two, voluntary aid from private individuals or groups, either from within the country or abroad. That aid can take the form of equipment, funding, or even volunteer fighters. But what is never justified is state-led war funded by taxes or fought with conscripted lives. Justice can never come through aggression. And indeed, in Ukraine, we've seen precisely this model in action. In addition to the official Ukrainian International Legion, there are private organizations helping evacuate civilians, provide medical aid, and supply volunteer fighters, all without conscription or taxation. Some veterans have gone to fight. Others raise money for gear or training. This is a proper effort where no one is forced to contribute. Likewise, in the Middle East, we've seen civilian missions attempting to deliver aid to Gaza despite government blockades. These efforts are far from perfect, but they reflect the only moral path. Help the victims, pressure the aggressors, but never become an aggressor yourself.